In 6 days, the earth will hold its breath, not because of politics, not because of war, not because of any man-made crisis, but because a football tournament is about to begin that is so large, so full of stories that have never been told, and so loaded with moments that will live forever in the memory of every human being who watches, that the world as you currently know, it will feel different on the other side of July 19th, 2026. This is not your grandfather's World Cup. The 2026 edition is the largest sporting event in human history. 48 nations, 104 matches, 39 days of football spread across 3 countries, and 16 different stadiums, with over 6 billion people expected to watch at some point during the tournament. 6 billion. That is more than 3 out of every 4 human beings alive on this earth, stopping whatever they are doing to watch the same thing. For the very first time in the history of this competition, the World Cup will not have one host. It will have 3. The United States of America, Canada, and Mexico are sharing this tournament, and together they are presenting a stage so vast that you could fly from one end of the tournament to the other and spend nearly 6 hours in the air. And every single one of these 16 venues has a story, a history, and a crowd ready to make noise that shakes the ground beneath your feet. On June 11th, the tournament will open at the Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, one of the most legendary football grounds ever built. A stadium that has already witnessed 2 World Cup finals, that hosted Pele and Maradona, and some of the most iconic moments in the sport's history. And it is here that Mexico will face South Africa, in a match that will ignite the entire planet and send a message that something truly, once in a generation, has just begun. Something that should be impossible is actually happening at the 2026 World Cup, because both Lionel Messi, aged 39, and Cristiano Ronaldo, aged 41, are at this tournament, both in their 6th World Cup, both still captaining their nations, both chasing the same dream. Messi trying to defend the title he won in 2022 and become a back-to-back world champion. Ronaldo hunting the one trophy that has always escaped him after winning everything else the game has to offer. And the greatest rivalry in the history of football is not over. It is still alive, right here in 2026, one final extraordinary, unrepeatable time. And yet, alongside those 2 legends, a generation of young footballers is rising so fast and so ferociously that the sport has not felt this exciting in 2 decades. Kylian Mbappe of France, Jude Bellingham of England, Vinicius Jr. of Brazil, Lamine Yamal of Spain, a teenager born in 2007 who already plays like he has been here before, and Pedri, Gavi, Warren Zaïre-Emery. These are the men who will one day own this game completely. And in 2026, we will watch the old kings and the new kings share the same stage for the very last time. France arrived at this World Cup as the heaviest favorites. They won in 2018. They reached the final in 2022, where they nearly came back from 3 goals down in the last 15 minutes. And now, with Mbappe as captain and Didier Deschamps coaching his final tournament before stepping down after 14 years in charge, France carried the weight of a legacy and a farewell simultaneously. A machine built for one purpose, and that purpose is to lift that trophy in New Jersey on July 19th and send the champs and Mbappe into history together. Brazil have not won a World Cup since 2002. That is 24 years of the most painful kind of waiting, the kind where you arrive every 4 years with the weight of an entire country on your shoulders, where 250 million people hold their breath every time the ball enters the box. And in 2026, Brazil arrived with a story that nobody predicted. Carlo Ancelotti, the most decorated club manager in football history, has left Real Madrid to become Brazil's first ever foreign coach, with Vinicius Jr. leading the attack and Neymar making a dramatic comeback from 2.5 years of injury absence. And together, they carry the weight of a nation that has not exhaled properly in nearly a quarter of a century. England have not won a World Cup since 1966. 60 years. 60 years of near misses and penalty nightmares and quarter-final exits that have broken the hearts of generation after generation of supporters who grew old watching and waiting and hoping, and now they have Thomas Tuchel, a Champions League winning German manager, brought in specifically to end that hurt. Harry Kane as captain with 78 international goals and everything to prove, and Jude Bellingham, a midfielder so complete and so technically brilliant that football analysts run out of words trying to describe what they're watching. And in 2026 might finally, after all the waiting and all the pain, be England's year. Argentina are the defending champions. They won in Qatar in 2022 in a final so dramatic it stopped the world. And now they return under Lionel Scaloni, the coach who has won the Copa America twice and the World Cup, with Lionel Messi at 39 years old, making his 6th World Cup appearance in the hope of leaving the game as a back-to-back world champion, something no player in the modern era has ever achieved. And the story of Messi in 2026 is not just a football history. It is a human story about a man who has already reached every peak and is still climbing, still hungry, still refusing to accept that the greatest chapter of his career has already been written. While the world argues about France and Brazil, Spain under coach Luis de la Fuente have quietly assembled one of the most dangerous squads in world football. They won Euro 2024 with a team that averaged 24 years of age. They played football so smooth and so intelligent that their opponent looked confused for 90 minutes. And the heartbeat of this Spain team is Lamine Yamal, now 18, who is recovering from a hamstring injury but has been included in the squad, because De La Fuente knows that with Yamal fully fit, Spain are not just a contender, they are a genuine threat to win everything. And that is precisely why nobody should underestimate them. There is a conversation happening across the African continent right now. A quiet, hopeful, dangerous conversation, because for the first time in World Cup history, Africa has 10 representatives at the finals. A record number: Morocco, Senegal, Egypt, Cape Verde, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Tunisia, Algeria, South Africa, and DR Congo. 10 nations carrying the dreams of 1.4 billion people. And Morocco showed the world in 2022 that African football belongs in the Final Four. So the question in 2026 is not whether Africa can cause an upset. The question is whether Africa can go all the way. The 16 venues for this World Cup are not just stadiums, they are cathedrals. The Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, which has hosted 2 World Cup finals and is the only stadium that would have hosted both a final and an opening game. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, where 82,000 people will watch the July 19th final. The Rose Bowl in Los Angeles, where the 1994 final was played, and the new state-of-the-art arenas in Dallas, Miami, Shuttle, and Kansas City. 16 different venues, 16 different atmospheres, 16 different reasons for a player to feel that they are standing on the sacred ground. FIFA has set aside $871 million in prize money for this tournament, a 65% increase from the last World Cup, and the winning nation will receive a record $50 million, the largest prize ever awarded to a World Cup champion in the history of football. And while that number sounds abstract, when you say it in a sentence, think about what it means for a player from a smaller nation, a player who grew up with nothing, who played barefoot as a child, who is now standing on a World Cup pitch, knowing that winning this game brings his entire country a sum of money that transforms lives. And that knowledge, that weight, that motivation is something that no amount of tactical preparation can replicate or compete with.